Should be. Hello, crew. Good evening. Hello, Mr. Longwood, Mr. Henley.
Hello, Captain.
Hello, Captain.
Time for us to have a show. Ladies and gentlemen, if anybody's out there watching us tonight, it has been a very, very, very long weekend for all of us, all three of us especially. But for the crew of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, because this was the induction weekend of the Order of the Leviathan. And so we were working very long hours during this past weekend. Saturday alone for all three of us was about a 15 to 16 hour day. And Sunday was early in the morning, late at night, and Friday late at night. And I'm bleary eyed and I hurt from moving benches and picnic tables. And my shoulder reminds me of the old joke, hey, doc, it hurts when I do this. Doctor's prescription was don't do that anymore. That's the joke. So we thought we'd do a nice relaxing show, talk about the weekend, talk about a few other things, have a toast or a drink, show you some new rum bottles we picked up, and just have a good evening relaxing. Do we have anybody watching us tonight?
Oh, yes.
Do we? Because I don't see anything. I see nothing. Well, there's Christy. Hello. How come I'm not seeing it? Oh, wait, maybe if I change it. There it is. Okay. Had it on the wrong thing. My bad. Oh, there's Ransom Mayhem. And a congratulations to Ransom Mayhem for making it into the order. And yes, for those of you that don't know, that is my kid brother. Zachary Harper's in tonight. Very good. Good to see you. Is Scarlett there?
Yep.
Scarlett. Well, thank you for showing up too. I see Facebook user. Very good. Adam, there's Adam. Hey, Mark Miller and Rusty Cutlass Band speak very highly of you now, and you and your talents with Christy and her voice. I got to talk to Christy this morning. They popped over to the house this morning to pick up their supplies. Christy sang her voice off. So that's pretty cool. There's Betsy. Hello, Betsy Spear. Nice to see you here. She works with us over at the Pirate Museum. So I'm surprised. I really thought that after this weekend with so many people being so wore out that we wouldn't have anybody watching us tonight. So I was on the verge of saying, let's not do an episode tonight. But Longwood said, nope, we have to do an episode no matter what. So ladies and gentlemen, here we are, the three amigos. And thank you for being there with us. We appreciate the support. What have we, you know what? Quote of the week, Mr. Longwood. You're the one that picked it out this week. Give us the quote of the week. Try not to become a man of success, but rather try to become a man of value. Albert Einstein. That's a very good quote. And you know, that's an appropriate quote for what we had going on this weekend. And that's all I'm going to say. Those of you that are in the know, you'll understand. Those of you that don't, just take the quote and live by it. It's a good one. Very good job, Mr. Longwood. I think we need to have Mr. Hellfire come up with a quote for the next week's show. We start giving him assignments. Otherwise, he just sits there and stares at the monitor. And some people think he might be one of the wax figures from the Pirate Museum. How about a question of the week? Question of the week. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a party. Doesn't matter how big it is, what the season is, what kind of party it is, but you have a party. What is it that makes you feel good about your party that guests can or should do while at your party. Enjoying the party is not one of the answers as far as I'm concerned, because that just means you've had a good party anyway. But what are things you can do? I will tell you some of the things. For example, I received no less than 5 bottles of rum last night from different people that came to my house. They were not required to bring anything to my house, but they brought bottles of rum to Captain Mayhem as a thank you for the hospitality of our house. That's pretty cool, giving gifts. When I was in Japan, lived in Japan for 3 years, that was almost a requirement. If you showed up as a guest at a house with Japanese friends and did not have a gift, you were not playing proper. So that's always a good one, a gift. And it doesn't matter what the gift is. It doesn't have to be expensive. It doesn't have to be a major something, a major purchase. It just needs to be a show of appreciation. And of course, always a thank you, either before, as you get there, or before you leave. Let's see. Enjoying the food I made for it. Although Ransom taking some shots with my airsoft flintlock was pretty cool yesterday too. I never got a chance to shoot that bloomin' thing. We're gonna have to bring it back over so I can have a private shooting. Feel safe with those around them and know they will be taken care of. Good point, Mr. Harker. Very good point. So everybody has their own thing about throwing a party. You always want to make sure that everybody leaves. And part of my speech when most everybody was at our party last night, and at one point in time we had 82 people in my backyard. I do believe it's the largest party I've ever thrown. But the speech was this: if you leave, once you're at my house, I'm not serving you. The food is there, the bar is there. You can take care of yourself. You're adults. But if you leave my party hungry or sober, it's your fault, nobody else's. So we went through a lot. Strengthen friendships. I like that one. Very good. Nightingale in Florida. So it was a good evening. We do have some pictures we'll show off in just a little bit, but it was a good evening. And since we have people on tonight and we are really only prepared to talk about the weekend and just sit here and relax and have a drink. Oh yes, by the way, the shot of rum I took, we always try to tell everybody what the rum is for the evening. You can see that I have several bottles here. We'll be showing those off here in just a few minutes, but this is the one that I took tonight. We want to give credit to Kirk and Sweeney, the Grand Reserva. Right there it is. And it's a great, great rum. I like it a lot. This was a gift last night. And then the person that gave it to me, I decided to open it up and share the first shot with them, which is always another way to show your appreciation. But then we started walking around with the bottle and sharing it with everybody. So it's very good rum. I like it. In fact, I think it requires another shot. Yum, rum. Sketchy Guy's here. Very good. We do need to get Sketchy Guy on the show for sure. And it's going to be a combination of art and rum. I can tell you that right now. Art and rum. Will the Historian. Last few parties I've been to or hosted, I will bartend. Everyone seems to enjoy the drinks I make. You must make them with a little bit of strength then. That's a good thing for a bartender. So cheers to your bartending needs. Thank you very much. What say we talk about the crew adventure real quick, Mr. Longwood?
Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, nope, that's not it.
Oops.
It's all right. If we make mistakes tonight, it's not by any other reason other than we're bleary-eyed and wore out. Mistakes are excusable.
Now, I know you did want to talk about the coming up
Seafood Festival. There you go. We got that one coming up, and we got the Celtic Festival. Let's talk about the Seafood Festival. It's no longer called the Seafood Festival. It's called the Spring Festival. But they've made the change this year. It is the last weekend of March, and the St. Augustine Swashbucklers will be a part of it. And then in 2 weeks, the St. Augustine Swashbucklers is participating in the Celtic Festival, and we'll be a part of that. We're working on our gala, which is in June 18th, the Midsummer Night Gala. That's on. I had a few pirates ask about it last night. One couple that asked about it came last year and said it was one of the most enjoyable pirate events that was not pirate that they'd been to in a long time. So they wanted to know if we were ready to sell tickets yet. But I had a few other pirates that did not come. And I guess they're now curious because success begets curiosity. And so we'll have people out. I believe that we're going to have to talk about a photo booth. That's a hint. And maybe that photo booth can be Shakespearean instead of pirate, if we can work it out. I actually have a backdrop that we could use and go from there. So the person that is the hint was for, I'm sure, knows who we're talking about now. I see Sketchy Guy said Drunken Crew. Hi, sounds like a good drink too. Drunken Crew. And Facebook user, I will have to come to one of your parties sometime soon. Yes, you will. Wonder what Facebook user, how does that get classified in there, Mr. Longwood? Is that just people that are watching us via Facebook?
Yeah.
Huh. All right. So
we're being joined by Donna and William Troy Turner on Facebook.
William Troy Turner's there. Very good. He must be. Is he one of the Facebook users?
Yes, indeed.
Very, very good. William Troy Turner. Nice to have you aboard here. He is a celebrity lookalike, looks exactly like William Troy Turner from the movies, and it's great to have him aboard. We will have to see about having him as a guest on the show one evening. Maybe we can pick him up for that. I also know, and we'll talk about it later on in the show, but ladies and gentlemen, we have tried to make it a point that at least once a month we want to highlight a crew as the guest of our show. And after this weekend, I have 4 different crews that would like to be on our show. That's pretty cool. 4 different crews. 1 from Oregon, 1 from Louisiana, 2 from California. So we'll have to bring them in and have them be a part of the show. We're starting to work on more and more dates through the rest of the year. And as we get more dates solid, we're going to start publicizing that so people know when to watch. We were supposed to have my good friend Alvin Brumfeld from Louisiana, who is the owner of the Louisiana Renaissance Festival and more recently the Pirates of Pontchartrain Pirate Festival in Hammond, Louisiana. But we were so busy from Wednesday on, we didn't do any kind of publicity. Of course, he didn't send me a picture like he was supposed to either, but we didn't do any kind of publicity. And as unprofessional as that sounds, it would not have been fair to have the show tonight without having done some good publicity for him. So we put it off until the 14th of March. His event, Pirates of Pontchartrain, will be happening around the second weekend of April. No, first weekend of April. First weekend of April. So we want to give that, still gives them 2 weeks of leeway time, and I think we'll get them involved with everything we can. So that's our crew adventure for 2022. And of course, every Monday night, the podcast. October, we'll have our Halloween, and December, we will have our Christmas yards. All those yards and all the things we raise go to the Humane Society. I was actually approached by a pirate who is part of the Humane Society here and wanted to know if we would be doing anything else in the near future. I told him I would bring it up to the crew, and the crew will make a decision. I guess food for pets is in short supply. I do know that because we have 3 cats here, and believe it or not, it's hard to find cat food right now. So, what's that, Mr. Longwood?
I said I didn't realize that. Wow.
Yes, the shelves in Publix and the shelves in Walmart for cat food are old Mother's Hubbard. They're pretty well covered. The cupboards are bare. So that's it. So let's spend some time talking about this past weekend, the Order of Leviathan event. So let me give you a quick rundown of what it is. The Order of Leviathan was started in 2009, and they, out of California, the founding members, and we have some pictures, I may pop some of the founding members up here, they decided that it would be really very cool to find the 12 most influential pirates of the pirate community nationwide. Now, back then they did it. The first one they did in 2009, they required that all nominees be put up by pirate groups, and that nominees had to be a captain at that point. And they got over 100 nominees, and they pared it down to 25, I think it was. Yes, 25. And then out of the 25, they would pick the top 12, and then the 12 would pick the 13th. 13 meaning the Devil's Dozen, the Pirate Lords, patterned after the second Pirate of the Caribbean movies, when they had all the Pirate Lords there. It went very well. I went to the first induction, which was in 2010 in Fells Point, Maryland. So I've been attached to the Order of Leviathan since it started back then. I did not make it as one of the members of the order inducted that year, but in 2011, when they put the voting back up again, I received lots of good votes, support from every one of the order members at that point in time, and lo and behold, in 2012, I am inducted into the order. Now let's move forward 10 years to 2022. Let's go to actually 2020. Let's go to 8 years. In 2020, the induction could not happen for the 12 to 13 because COVID. So they had to cancel. So now we move forward to 2022. Exactly 10 years from my point, my brother, Ransom Mayhem, makes it into the order. We are the only two brothers in the order, which is pretty special. But because they could not do the induction of 2020, they did the induction of 2020 and 2022 here in St. Augustine, the oldest city in the nation. There were a lot of pirates that came for this. I believe 260 plus tickets were sold to the event for Saturday evening. That's a lot of pirates. And they were from all points of the compass. Unfortunately, we had a few pirates that were supposed to be here from England, and one pirate from South America, but due to travel restrictions and issues, they could not attend, which was a shame. I really was looking forward to meeting a couple of them from England because I've been in conversations with them online. A lot of these pirates, none of us have ever met each other in real life. Social media has brought us all together. So it was wonderful to meet some. One of my friends that I'd never met in person was Marc Fauget. He's from Nova Scotia, but if I get that wrong, I apologize. If anybody catches me, they can correct me. I have no problem with that. I believe he's from Nova Scotia, and he was down, and he does not a podcast, but he does some kind of a. Did you catch what it was that he did on the social media there, Mr. Longwood? Did you happen to talk to him?
The gentleman that was with me in the sound booth?
Yes.
His own thing?
Yes. What was he doing?
Yeah, it was some sort of videography type thing.
And he has a worldwide following. So him and I have talked often, and I believe sometime in the summertime we're going to have him as a guest on our show, and trade off, we're going to be a guest on his show. And then we made friends with a pirate up in the Carolinas, Adam Morrow, and he did not make it into the order, but nonetheless, he still came down to support the order. Really very cool young pirate who has a sponsorship of rum. And so guess what? We brought him over to the house. He brought samples of rum for everybody. I still have several samples sitting around, and we had a good time. So that's a rundown. There it is right there. There's Mr. Morrow. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, I am barefoot. There was a reason for it. Put that back up there real quick, Mr. Longwood. So we had our, now we're going to talk about this a little bit more later, but since this picture popped up, Sunday evening, there was nothing on the agenda for all these pirates from out of town, and there were many of them that were staying till Monday morning and Tuesday morning. So I decided to throw a big party in my backyard on Sunday evening. All the food for all these people were free, as due to the generosity of my crew. The St. Augustine Swashbucklers helped provide all the food. We had 3 or 4 different chilies. We had a really great meat, bean and meat dish. We had my seafood chowder that I make. We had vegetables galore. We had all kinds of things. It was all cooked food, no store-bought, all cooked, all Southern hospitality for sure. And so as part of the Southern hospitality, I went barefoot. and I didn't hurt my feet any that night. So it was a good event held by all, and we'll talk a little bit more about it. Let's talk about what happened on Thursday. Thursday, the order had asked me to do a special private tour for any of the members that came into town early on Thursday. So I did a tour at the Pirate and Treasure Museum for those, and it was 20 people, and we had a good time. And I got to do my tour as it was an adult tour, so that's a lot more fun for me. And so we had a good time. Up there's me with a new friend. Now look at that bird. When I had that bird on my shoulder, the owner said that bird has never nuzzled up to anybody before. There's another picture of that bird nuzzling up into my beard. Has never nuzzled anybody before, and did not want to get off my shoulder. They had to pull her off my shoulder, and while they were holding her, she held her foot out because she wanted to get back on my shoulder. They said she'd never done that before either. So I was pretty touched with that. What a sweet bird that one was. What a sweet bird.
But not to her owner. She tried to
Yeah,
fight her.
I did ask the bird, and for some reason I can't remember the name all of a sudden, but I did ask that pretty bird. I said, "Do you want to stay in St. Augustine?" I think that's why they kept nuzzling me. I think they wanted to stay because they don't want to go back to Oregon. Long drive back to Oregon. It was a fantastic party. Thank you, Nightingale. We had a good time, and we're glad you were there. I know you were. So that was a tour in the evening at the Pirate Museum, and I don't favor in my tour the Disney-fied idea of pirates. We talk about the real idea of pirates in our tour because it's a pirate museum and we talk about real pirates. But we try very hard not to alienate anybody for their opinion on how pirate history might be. It was a great tour. Friday was set up, and that's where we started to work. We were setting up the stage with the sound and the lights. Oh, look at that. There's a picture. See, Mr. Longwood, I told you. Somebody else came to me and told me they'd never seen Mason doing any work whatsoever. He just sits around and smiles at everybody. And there's proof that he actually does work. There he is up on the ship, making sure the flags were taken care of properly. So we now have proof that Mason, our young Mr. Henley there, actually does work. So there you go. And there's some of the staging that we set up for everything. The ship is already there. We didn't set that up, but the flags were put out and the benches were put out for seating, and we moved 39 wooden benches and a dozen wooden tables from different parts of the property. And then by Sunday morning, when it was all put back, you could not even tell we had an event there. So it was good. Setup went from 4 o'clock, and I actually didn't get out of there myself until 11:30 that night, but most of the rest of the crew got out of there about 9 o'clock. So it was about 4 or 5 hours of setup with as many crew members. So it was great. While the rest of the order members actually were allowed to go to Dog Rose Brewery for a meet and greet that evening. It was supposed to be the first hour to hour and a half was supposed to be members of the order only, but it did not happen that way. And the place was full of all kinds of pirates who just kind of crashed the place. So I understand it was a good evening by all. I know Robert's not watching, but I do want to go on record as saying, Robert, you need to watch people with axe handles. He'll know what I mean, and we'll just leave it at that. Robert Farrell, Flintlock Farrell, one of is the head of the steering committee of the Order of Leviathan. There's our sound booth right there, ladies and gentlemen. And we have the St. Augustine Swashbucklers is in possession of just about everything we need to do almost any size concert. 1,500 watts of power. That's a pretty good concert for the kind of concerts we do. A dozen microphones, wireless microphones. We have everything we need to really put on a good show now. So if anybody needs a good sound system for their pirate events, by all means, they should give us a call and let us work something out for it. We can do just about anything. There is the Rusty Cutlass Band.
And that was proof we could do everything because they're a many-piece band and they're professional. So, and they were thrilled with all the stuff we did for them.
They are the Disney Pirate Band, ladies and gentlemen, or were. Still do stuff for Disney. And put that picture back up, Mr. Longwood. There's proof also of the jumbled mess of all the cables and wires it takes to make all those microphones and backup cables and or backup speakers and everything else work so that everybody can enjoy the sounds of Rusty Cutlass. We had 3 performing acts on the stage during the day, and we were able to accommodate every one of them. So it was a good effort. It was our very first effort as the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, or more importantly, as W Mayhem Productions, sound and lights. And then do we have a picture in the evening with all the lights set up too? Did you have?
Yeah. Well, actually, these are all the pictures I was able to get. This is the crap. This was the nice thing about the thing. You got to meet pirates from all over.
Absolutely.
It was an unusual thing I've never seen, and everybody was talking about how wonderful it was to see so many pirates all at once. And I know tourists on St. George Street were just blown away by all the pirates. They just because those guys just went out on the streets and took over.
Yes, it was a good time, and there were pirates from everywhere, so that was a good thing. And that's all the daytime. That's the induction. They did the induction at just around noontime. Brought all those pirates in. There's my brother, almost front and center, right there in the white coat. There's Ransom Mayhem. I understand that there was a tear or two in his eye. We'll leave it at that.
That's a better picture of him.
There's a good picture of him. And that there is Keith Hill, ladies and gentlemen. Keith Hill has won several awards on Forged in Fire, Knife or Death. He builds and makes swords. I'll go on record as saying, hey, I wouldn't mind having a Keith Hill sword, but every time I ask, I'm told he's just too swamped and too busy. Yet, he's made 2 swords for my brother. Methinks thou dost tell the wrong story. But maybe one day. There's Flintlock Farrell right there on the left.
Who we had on the show.
What's that? Who we had on the show. Right. Thank you, Mr. Longwood. And on the right, is that Klaus? That is Klaus. He's one of the founding members of the order. I've been friends with him since 2009. And he left some German food and German alcohol here. Said he couldn't take it with him. When he left me 2 tubs of rum gummy bears. I have to share them with everybody.
That's what Cece was giving out.
Yes, so we still have some. Keith is the only 3-time champion of the Forged in Fire show. Yeah, very good. So that was Saturday during the day. That is the daytime, and the weather was wonderful. The weather here in this time of year gives the pirates a chance to wear all of their fancy garb if they want, and not. Now there were a few pirates that were from Oregon and Canada and up north, Massachusetts or whatever, that were complaining that it was just too hot and humid for them. Oh, wah. Enjoy it. It was a good weekend. And guess what? The weather went to crap in a handbasket today for sure. It got cold, it got misty, it got rainy, and I hope it clears away soon. But that was the lunchtime event, and then we went into the ball, which was Saturday night. Saturday night was a grand ball. All the people were there, and some of them dressed even more finer than they were supposed to be. And some of the outfits and some of the it's hilariously funny. But I'll keep that thought to myself for now. But some of the stuff that these people were wearing were just so wonderfully elaborate, especially the women. The women were wearing lots. My hat's off, no pun intended, to the big hat girl, and I don't have her card in front of me to give her a shout out. But some of the hats, especially all the hats made for the Crimson Tide, supposedly she made all of those. Leather hats, wonderful hats with designs and everything on them. And my own Cece thinks that it's time for me to get my own Mayhem hat. So we may have to talk to her about that. She owns the Big Hat Pirate Company, or the Big Hat Company. My apologies for not getting it exactly right, because I think all the cards I collected are still sitting in my card wallet on the front seat of the car. So yes, I have a car, not a pirate ship. There's a couple. Let's see. This is the party Sunday night. That's at Tina Marie. How come it looks like, and that's Annette, and that's Christy. How
And
come it looks
Gina.
like there's shooting light from the heavens above shining on these three wonderful women?
That's all the wonderful lights you put out.
Yes, it must be. So there's three of our crew right there. So any other pictures of the ball? Oh, you're still showing Sunday night. That's okay. It doesn't matter. That was two of my other crew members.
No, the ball. I wish I could. The nighttime. I could. I was able to get tons of the daytime stuff, but I couldn't find the nighttime. And there were a lot of the ladies. They're almost like a Rococo type ball gowns. I mean, it
Yes,
was
it was.
unbelievable.
One of the ball gowns I saw a picture of, I should have sent it to you. She was an elaborately great blue colored, several different blue colors, and she had a large octopus embroidered on the front of her dress. It was a beautiful dress. I should have saved that picture for you, but I will be posting pictures and things along our Facebook page soon, I'm sure. Christy Thomas, of course you're angels. There's no just kidding aside on that one. You are angels, and it was great to have you. Our Sunday night event, Sunday during the day, they had the black powder shoot. I
Uh-huh.
did not attend that because I had to be at the Colonial Quarter at 8 o'clock in the morning to put everything back so the Colonial Quarter could go back into business. So they build this pirate ship out of plywood, and they had cannons and muskets and pistols, all black powder, and they were shooting live ammunition, not just powder shot, but live ammunition. And I believe they pretty well shot it full of holes. And
Yeah.
there's one of the cannons right there, and they had all kinds of all sizes, all shapes of firearms there. The shoot was organized and taken care of by Proper Roger, captain of the crew of the 13. He is one of the black powder people here, qualified black powder people here in the city of St. Augustine. We have one in our own crew, Mr. Stephen Kreider, worked at the fort, was a reenactor, Mena Menendez, and the garrison, and is black powder qualified and is in our crew. But the crew of the 13 had a handle on that, and it was a grand shoot. I understand a lot of people had a good time. More importantly, there were no accidents that I know of or have been told. If there were, they've swept them under the rug and behind the shooting berm so nobody knows about it. So we're good to go. So glad nobody was hurt. Good job, crew of the 13. And then, of course, Sunday night was the
Before we get to
final
the Sunday
party.
night, Captain, I
Oh,
think we
yeah?
should get a shout out to the food.
Ah, yes. Captain Scallywag's food truck. He is soon to probably be a member of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, very adamant about it. There's his food menu, if you can read it. I don't have my specs in, so I can't.
Salads, tacos, burgers.
I had his tacos Saturday night, and they were wonderful. It's street food, ladies and gentlemen. There is a difference between street food and then just going to a restaurant and eating. It was great. And I had the tacos. He wants to become a member of our crew, the St. Augustine Swashbucklers, and he wants to be known as the ship's cook. I think that's a good position for him if he'd like. We'll talk it over with the crew and see what happens. But he has a wife and at least three children. I met two daughters and a son over the weekend. It was a family affair. They were all helping out and doing what they needed to do to make it a great event. And they did well. He was very pleased and very happy. And we'll be including him in many more of our events. So I know he's doing the Celtic Festival, as are we, and I'm trying to get him into the Lions Food or the Lions Spring Festival also. So we'll see what happens. So his food was great. His prices were wonderful. And did either of you two eat any of his food?
We really didn't get the chance to.
Well, I'm not sure that's entirely true. You had the chance. I'm not a slave driver. I know there was at least 3 hours of free downtime between the two events.
Yeah, but at that time he had to take off and go get more supplies. Everybody left. Scarlett, they left from Shiver Me Pictures. The whole Colonial Quarter was empty. So Mason and myself were left there to guard everything because everything was just left right out there.
All right. We'll not argue it anymore. I guess excuses are good. We'll let it go. You won't be keelhauled this time, but we will make some changes on some of the ways we do things. If it's an all-day event, we really have to make sure we incorporate some breaks in there. Because I know, Davey, that was a long day for you, and you used it as a great excuse for not showing up on Sunday morning to help us put everything back again. Yes, he calls in and goes, I'm sick. I'm not feeling good. I was up all night throwing up. You're a pirate. Get down here and get working. But it is tough when you have to work. And when we started, 8 o'clock in the morning on
8 in
Saturday?
the morning, and we didn't leave there till.
And we didn't leave until, what time did you leave? 10 o'clock?
Yeah, a little after
So that's a
10.
14-hour day, and I had to stay until people got the hell out of there. I didn't get out of there till 12:30, 1 o'clock. So, and then happened to be there the next morning to put it all back again. Hey, I'm old. I still was able to do it. Hellfire was guarding the Twinkies. It was a good event by all of the crew, and I put a post on Facebook to thank each and every one of the crew. Every one of the crew had their own part to play, whether it was 16 hours or 2 hours or whatever. It takes a crew to make an event, and everybody played an important part from the St. Augustine Swashbucklers and made it a successful event. And I've gotten many other comments and messages, some private, from some of the pirates that came here who knew how much work this crew did, and were very thankful for the efforts made to make such a great Order of Leviathan event. And some of the people, I'll say this, but if I have to prove it to anybody, I can get proof. But I have proof from many of the pirates who have been with the Order for more than one time, not the new ones, but the ones that were in inductions in 2018, 2016, 2014, and of course 2012 for me. They said that this event was the best induction event, the best gathering of pirates of the entire 12 years, with the exception of Fells Point, because several of us older ones that were at Fells Point, Maryland is a great pirate town. It's just as good as St. Augustine, almost, and we'll leave it at that. It was a grand time. Many new friendships were developed. Mo, I know you're not watching tonight, and Ashley, your daughter, they were here. Mo lives in Las Vegas, Henderson to be more specific, and he does something similar that we do. He builds a Halloween event on his property every year, and so we're going to be comparing notes. I had some ideas for something new I'm doing for our Halloween event this year. He had never heard of it before, so he may be trying the same thing out there. It'll be interesting to see, but the Cece and myself may be having to go to Las Vegas for a couple of days sometime in the summer because her son got married, but they did not have any kind of a party or reception. It was just kind of a quick one at one of those great get married places there in St. Augustine. I mean, in Las Vegas. Sorry about that. And they want us to come out for some kind of a party. So we're thinking about trying to figure out if we can go out there for a day or 2 or 3 and enjoy. And we'll get to hang out with Mo, and Ashley, who lives over in California, actually said she would come over to Vegas for the weekend and hang out with us too. So we get a chance to hang out with some of the other pirate brethren we have from the West Coast over there in Vegas. Hell, who knows? If we do it right, maybe we can get quite a few of them to come over, and we'll have us a blackjack party at some casino, and pirates will take over the casino. We all could use the money, but it would be a fun time. We'll see what happens. So anything I missed about the weekend there, Mr.
Yes,
Longwood?
but we have not really gone into the most awesome after party.
That's true. We did have a good after party. The after
Because
party
it's no
was
kind
nice.
of party unless it's the Brothers Mayhem releasing the Kraken party.
That's it. We had. I hope we didn't get a picture of the bar because there was more booze on the bar than we needed to. There's me and my brother having a cheer, and there's Mark Miller taking a picture of us, and it was a great event. There's Mr. Davey Longwood with our bestest of all friends and belly dancers, Gina Marie. Very good. Oh, and you were in my my podcast room. Very good. There's Sam Morrow. Put the picture of Sam up. The bottle he's got in his arm, he gave this. When he asked if he could come, I said, you can come and bring all the samples you want for everybody else, but I get a bottle. That's the cost of coming to my house, a bottle. So he gives me a bottle. The rum is called Bombarda. I'm sorry, Bombarda. And what's really cool about the bottle, looking at the bottle this way, it doesn't really make a lot of sense, but it's got some engraving on it. But ladies and gentlemen, look, cut this part off right there. It's a cannon. It's a cannon. There's the muzzle right there. There's the cannon. It's a cannon. Isn't that a cool bottle? I'm not going to open this one for a while. This one's 5 years old. I had the sample. It's good rum. Did you try it, David?
Yes, I did. The young lady that was with him was passing out those little tiny.
The vials, yeah. Did you try one, Mr. Henley?
Oh yeah, I had a lot. I even grabbed some for the road too.
Oh, very good.
I was able to get Miss Gina to drink one. She usually doesn't do that.
That's true. But it's very good rum. So, Bombarda, if anybody catches this event or this episode, we'd like to talk to you because it was good rum. And I really do like that bottle. That's pretty cool. That's a cannon, ladies and gentlemen. A cannon. Look at that. Cover that part up. There it is. Let's see. Where's the camera? That's a cannon.
It's also worth noting they have a holder for those bottles where the bottle will sit horizontally like that on a wooden carriage that is designed to look exactly like a cannon.
I'm going to have to get one of those, aren't I? Well, I might have to look for that. This was very good. It was dark rum. It is, trying to remember where it's from. Pardon me while I put my specs on. It is product of Dominican Republic, Panama, and Barbados. A rare blend of dark rums, double-aged in bourbon and oak casks. We may have to have the River Pirate over one day to try this one. What do you think, mates? Yeah? Yeah, I think so.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the gifts I got last night. Another gift I got was, it's mostly empty. You got the picture of the Crimson Tide having a drink?
Oh, let me see.
So we're doing a toast. I know I'm challenging him. There it is, right there. And look at the bottle that the captain of the Crimson Tide is holding in his hand. Ladies and gentlemen, he brought the bottle special just for the night to honor the host of the party. And after he poured most everybody 2 shots, everybody had a good shot, he allowed me to keep the bottle. It is a cognac type rum, and it's excellent. It was smoky. It's the most smokiest rum I've ever tried. It was heavy smoky, and it was really, really, really good. So I've got the bottle. This will be a keepsake. The stopper of the bottle is actually a glass encased cork. So that's pretty cool also. So I have that one, ladies and gentlemen, right there. It's going to be part of my collection. And that was a good one too. Put that picture back up. I want to show a couple people or tell a couple people who's in there. All right. So there's myself. There's Mark Miller and his son, Cole Miller is the one in between us, just the head holding the green cup. And that's Mark Miller with the big Santa Claus beard. I have it on good authority that he's a very damn fine Santa Claus. The next one standing up is Mr. Willis himself. Mr. Willis has been a part of this since the very beginning, and he wasn't there until the cork popped on that bottle, and all of a sudden Mr. Willis just magically appeared. It was really wonderful. Of course, there's Ransom Mayhem sitting there with the eye patch on, and Mr. Klaus himself. That's the white-haired gentleman right in the very center, one of the founding members. And then that's Edgar, and I'll probably get the last name wrong. I believe it's Berrigan. He is the captain of the Crimson Tide. 12 members of the Crimson Tide came out for his induction to support their captain from California. And they do a lot of charity work over there. They're one of the crews that we're going to highlight in one of our months coming up. And let's see, the lovely redhead is the wife of the esteemed Oriental-looking chap there in the front there in the foreground. And he, ladies and gentlemen, has been a actor in all of the Pirates of the Caribbean movies. So it was an honor to have him here. There was another one that was in the picture, but that part of the picture got cut off. And that was Mr. Kono. He also has been in all the movies. They took my tour on Saturday, and he does short independent films, and he wants to talk about a couple of ideas he has now after taking my tour and meeting with me. So we're going to have a good time with that one. I look forward to conversations with him. Just yet one more expansion of what the podcast is doing for us and what we can do with pirates here. Ransom Mayhem, Bill, you asked if you could keep the bottle. Of course I can keep the bottle. It's my house. But he did buy it just for the event to bring over. He had it all wrapped up when we first started. You walked in late. Let's see. What other pictures you got? Oh, there's Mr. D and Robin. They're great members of our crew, and they show up. At one point in time, Mr. D was quartermaster of the St. Augustine Swashbucklers for a while. So, and there's Donna and Vicky Bell. She was the belle of the ball. That she was. And there's Donna. And there's Ed. Boy, you're quick getting to him fast. There's Mr. Ed. No, he's not a horse. And there's our own Davy Longwood sitting there. And off in the background there is Tinker, looking a little bit like a deer in headlights. We had tents everywhere and lights everywhere. It was a really grand time. Go ahead. You can. There is, as we showed that one earlier, there is, pop that one back up. You're closing them too fast. I can't get them. There you go. Because I just noticed something. The woman on the left behind Christy, that's my next door neighbor, isn't it?
Yes.
I'm glad they popped over. I was glad they did. And there's, I bet that's Linda with her back to us.
It is.
It is. And I don't see anybody else. There's Annette, that's Tinker's wife. There's Gina, that's Ed's wife. And there's Christy, that's Adam's wife. So those are the three leaders of those three families. Those are the better half of the family. So it was a grand time. It really, truly was. We had a wonderful time. I was talking with that couple for a while. They're very nice people, and they thoroughly enjoyed the food. Very good. Yes, they had a great time.
I do have one special. I did put on there one special video where we had our own scribe, Adam, doing a little bit of jamming at your fireside there.
If you got a video, go ahead. Let's see it.
One day when the tonguing is done, we'll take our leave and go. She had not been 2 weeks from shore when down on her a right whale bore. The captain called all hands and swore he'd take that whale in tow. Soon may the wellerman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the nugget is done, we'll take our leave and go. Because the fish had reached low water, the whale's tail came up and caught her on to the side. Harpooned and fought her, but she dived down below. Soon may the weatherman come to bring us sugar and tea and rum. One day when the nugget is done, we'll take our leave and go. For 40 days or even more, the line went slack and tight once more. Our boats were lost and
Wonderful job, Mr. Longwood. Wonderful job. Is that on our YouTube channel now?
No, I pulled it from Facebook. I could do that.
Very good. Well, we had a great time. Seeing that gives me one other thought. It's the thought is this. We also had a chance to, at the Saturday event, we did a Fiddler's Green. And that Fiddler's Green is where you honor those that are part of your family that have passed on. But we had at the event Sunday night, we specifically had 2 that we talked about for just a few minutes between Mark Miller and myself and Braze, who was behind the tree there. I did send you a picture of Braze, if you can find it, if you got it posted in there somewhere while I tell the story. We were telling the story of two two different pirates that were part of the order that have passed on. One is Willoughby Caught, and the other is Cascabel. Cascabel recently died just over the last 6 or 8 months, I believe. They were both original members of the Crew of the 13, or the Devil's 13, Devil's Dozen, and they were part of it. I'll tell you my story of Willoughby Caught. It was my first time even being around all these pirates. The only pirates I knew were St. Augustine pirates, but I went to Fells Point, Maryland in 2010, and I met all these pirates: Talderoy, Lycan, Bilge Monkey, Matt Stagmeyer, Willoughby Caught. Willoughby Caught was a well-known musician who did minstrel shows, Renaissance festivals, pirate festivals, wrote her own music, and was wonderful. Had no idea she knew who I was. And of course, I was back then, especially billing myself as the pirate magician of St. Augustine. So wandering the streets kind of on my own of Fells Point, I come across around the corner, and there's Willoughby Caught with some of her crew, singing to the crowds that were there, the tourists that were watching all the pirates. And after she finished one of her songs, she saw me standing there and she called me over, "Captain Mayhem, come over." And I went over and she said, "We can't be the ornament performers here. You must do magic for everybody." So I was caught flat-footed and had to do a couple of magic tricks. If I remember right, I always have my 3 ropes with me, and that was the one I did. And it was, the memory for me is that somebody that I had already known, who to me was a celebrity in the pirate world, knew me and recognized me and accepted me and brought me into their performance circle. And so then I would do a magic trick. She would play a song, then she'd make me do a magic trick. And we performed there for, I don't know, an hour, 2. It was just an enjoyable afternoon, and it endeared me to her. And we talked for, on occasion, online about performances and shows. We traded secrets and had a good time. And it was a good time. And it made me think well of her. And she's missed greatly. The other one is Cascabel. He was standing on the courtyard of the Pirate Museum one day. His wife, Jay, she was hosting a book signing of some of the books she's written. And so there's Cascabel and I standing there, and some kids come up and, "Pirates, pirates," as kids often do when you're standing around. And Cascabel took a step away from me and said, "I'm no pirate, but he is," and pointed at me. And we got a laugh out of that. So those are some of my good stories of 2 people in my life, in my pirate life, that have passed on. We'll see how life goes. It's a good episode to have people in your life. So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that Mr. Longwood has a History of the Week video.
Oh, right you are, Captain. Time to run. There we go.
those are some very interesting things. So, as always, Mr. Longwood, you outdo yourself. Thank you very much. We are running close to time, but gentlemen, let's not push it. If we have to go over the time frame, we'll go over for a few minutes. It's not going to hurt anything. We have a nice, wonderful audience watching on with us. And I guess I was wrong. I figured that we would be able to talk it all out in 20 minutes, and that would be it. It was an illegitimate president. Jackson won that election. We're going to have to look into that one. That's a part of the story. If I remember right, when I saw that pop up about Adams, he was brought in as president by the Senate, not by the vote. Is that correct, Will the historian? By the Senate, which means that there must have been some shenanigans going on, which also means that shenanigans in our voting process are not just of recent years, are they? History always has a way of repeating itself in some way, shape, or form. Be interesting to talk about that, Mr. Historian. Be glad to have you a part of the show sometime and we could talk on history. How about new on the horizon? Do we have anything going on? Order Leviathan, Valentine's Day, President's Day, Pirates of Pontchartrain was tonight. Next week may be the author B.B. Leclerc, which is my friend Ole Mackerel and his daughter, on a book they've written and is doing quite well out in the world. And we'll be talking about that. I have to confirm that here tonight or tomorrow, and we'll see where we go from there. So, speaking of those who went to Fiddler's Green, I wear Daniel's flask to every garbed event. Very good. Very good. Yes, Daniel was mentioned in the Fiddler's Green on Saturday night. We also talked about Joe Osteen after he made a deal with Speaker of the House. I'd be interested in knowing more about that, Mr. Historian. That's a very interesting one. Fiddler's Green. I kept a low profile all weekend because this was my brother's event, and I was more interested in making sure that everything that Davey and I and Henley were doing with the sound and the lights and the setup and everything else, I was concentrating on all of that. But there was one time that I had a short outburst. I will not apologize for it, but I will explain it. When they were trying to read off the names to honor those that have passed, way too many people were speaking and not paying attention and being disrespectful to that one particular time of our evening. And I ran to the stage. I told Captain Savage, Sean Young, to get on that microphone and make an announcement. And as I walked away from the stage, I screamed out, "Respect required by all," as loud as I could, twice. It did get everybody's attention. And then Mr. Savage explained what was going on, and they paid attention. Fiddler's Green and the honoring of our passing pirates within this organization or within any pirate organization is very, very, very important. It is a way that we honor those that have come before us and set the bar for us to hurdle over. And when we honor them, it does not matter if you're part of the group or not part of the group. You should pay attention. You should show respect. And the other thing that did not happen, although as some started to do, then others did, you remove your hat. That is an honor and a sign of show of respect, and it was very important to me. And if there was anybody that was offended by me and my outburst that night, again, I will not apologize. Not at all. So, let's move on. How about a call out? We try to pick a crew once a month, a different crew every month to highlight and be guest of our show. You do not have to be here in person to be a guest, because we now have 4 or 5 crews from around the country that want to be guests of our show. They will come in electronically. So instead of seeing 3 squares up here with the 3 of us ugly mugs, you may see 4, 5, or 6, because we'll let some of their other crew members. What's our limit, Mr. Longwood? Up to 7, 10 total. So we could bring in 7 other people from the crews to talk about what they do for charity, how they do things in their part of the world, and just start to spread the word of having crew members from other crews knowing each other and knowing how crews work. And the camaraderie is hugely important. So that's one of the things we're doing. It looks like we have a crew for March, a crew for April, a crew for May, a crew for June, July, and maybe even August. So I'm very pleased with that. And they're all out of town crews. Almost all of them are outside of Florida too. That's a cool thing. So let's see what happens. How about our subscribers and Patreon?
Okay. Don't forget our sponsorships.
Yes, I got sponsorships after subscribers, but we'll do it in your order. That's okay. You got it up there. Ladies and gentlemen, there's our sponsors. Obviously, the St. Augustine Swashbucklers. There's our podcast logo, Mayhem Productions, W Mayhem, Old City Pirate Fest, Dick's Wings, Paper Strings, Pirate and Treasure Museum, Gina's Dancers, the Ancient City Sirens, Colonial Oak, and Shiver Meat Timbers. I have 2 other sponsors that are about to be added to this by the middle to end of March. And of course, the charities that we do all our work for, Investing in Kids, St. Augustine Youth Services, and Pirates in Training, our own Christmas Pirate Toy Drive. Ladies and gentlemen, Inc. is an organization locally here in St. Johns County that raises money or takes money from us that raise it for them and provides it to teachers so that they do not have to spend the money out of their own pocket to buy all the extra supplies they need to have a good class environment for their children. And St. Augustine Youth Services, they are local also, and they provide a home to boys. We work with the boys camp specifically. They provide a home for boys that have been removed from their homes because their parents do not deserve to have children. And you can take it from that. And every year at Christmas time, the last 3 years, there's been 38 to 42 boys stuck there on Christmas Eve. And we provide Christmas stockings. And the last 2 years, because of COVID, we could not do our Christmas Eve party. So we hopefully will be doing that in 2022. Big events that we can try to do for them. And that's where our money goes. Oh, by the way, the Order of Leviathan, in agreement with having us work with them, agreed to give a small percentage of the money they were raising. Most everything that Order was raising this year goes to Give Kids the World down in Orlando, but because they were here in St. Augustine, they agreed to my terms. It was a parlay, and the accord was that a percentage of the money was to go to Inc. And so Donna Luders, the director of Inc., came out Saturday night as my guest and got on the stage and spoke about what we were doing, and they presented her with a check for $2,000. And she was very happy with that. So we want to continue that through the year. On that note, let's show our subscribers in our Patreon club. Look at that. We have 4 sponsors. We have 188 subscribers. We have 4 First Mate $5. And I believe we need to maybe start considering how to entice people to come and be our Patreon supporters. We already have poker chips for everybody. I don't know if we've made sure all 4 of them got one yet, but we better make sure of that this week so we don't be accused of being pirates. There's our chip, Captain's Quarters Podcast, and there's our closing statement for every episode, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to say it now because we're not closing just yet. Any last minute there? There it is, Patreon. Ladies and gentlemen, you can go to that website and you can become one of our Patreon members. A $5 a month membership becomes our First Mate, and the $1 a month becomes our Powder Monkey. And there it is right there. Good job, Mr. Longwood. Mr. Henry, you're working.
I want to note that Sketchy Guy was the one that drew the little.
Oh, yes. Let's give him credit for that. Give him credit for that. Pop our logo up there if you can. Do you have it handy, Mr. Longwood? Pop our logo up there. Let's give Mr. Sketchy Guy from Nevada some credit. Actually,
It's up in the corner. It's always up there.
There it is. Very good. If Sketchy Guy is still watching, if I come out to Vegas this summer, we'll have to get together for some rum in person. If you're watching, just put a thumbs up and we'll go from there. Other than that, any last minute check on the messages? Kara, my wife, wore Joe Osteen's waistcoat to the event the other night. So that's very nice. At Fiddler's Green, we're seamen true. When here they've done their duty. The bowl of grog shall still renew and pledge to love and beauty. Aye, very good. I think I'll commit that one to memory. Or try. Any other good comments we have out there? I see we had Fabworks watching us. Thanks for watching us, mate. We appreciate your support also and watching what we're doing. Much needed. There's the bell, ladies and gentlemen, and look at that. We're only 5 minutes late pulling into port, but that's okay. So go ahead there, Mr. Longwood, kick us off.
Part of the podcast.
Part of the crew.
Always, we appreciate your support and patronage. And ladies and gentlemen, we honor you as you honor us by your support and your viewing. Thank you very much. Always.